Hello everyone, this is Mike History 2, and today I will be talking about the land warfare of the Falklands War, and this will be the third and final part of my Falklands War series. So if you haven't already, watch the first part, which is the lead up, and the second part, which is the naval and aerial warfare. Alright, so without further ado, let's get to the video. During the night of the 21st of May, the British Amphibious Task Group, under the command of Commodore Michael Clapp, mounted Operation Sutton, the amphibious landing on beaches around San Carlos Water on the northwestern coast of East Falkland facing onto Falkland Sound. The bay, known as Bomb Alley by British forces, was the scene of repeated air attacks by low-flying Argentine jets. By dawn the next day, they had established a secure beachhead from which to conduct offensive operations. From there, Brigadier Julian Thompson's plan was to capture Darwin and Goose Green before turning towards Port Stanley. Now with the British troops on the ground, the South Air Force, which is Argentine, began the night bombing campaign against them using Canberra bomber planes until the last day of the war. Early on the 27th of May until the 28th of May, around 1,000 men with naval gunfire support from HMS Arrow and artillery support from 8th Commando Battery, Royal Artillery, approached and attacked Darwin and Goose Green, which was held by the Argentine 12th Infantry Regiment. After a tough struggle that lasted all night and into the next day, the British won the battle. In all, 17 British and 47 Argentine soldiers were killed. A total of 961 Argentine troops were taken prisoner, and with the sizable Argentine force at Goose Green out of the way, British forces were now able to break out of the San Carlos beachhead. On the 27th of May, men of 45th Commando and 3 Para started a loaded march across East Falkland toward the coastal settlement of Teal Inlet. Meanwhile, 42 Commando prepared to move by helicopter to Mount Kent. Unknown to the senior British officials, the Argentine generals were determined to tie down the British troops in the Mount Kent area, and on the 27th and 20th of May, sent transport aircraft loaded with blowpipe, surface-to-air missiles, and commandos to Stanley. For the next week, the SAS and the Mountain and Arctic Warfare Cadre of 3 Commando Brigade waged intense patrol battles with patrols of the volunteers of the 602nd Commando Company under Major Aldo Rico, normally second in command of the 22nd Mountain Infantry Regiment. Throughout the 30th of May, Royal Air Force Harriers were active over Mount Kent. One of them, Harrier XZ-963, flown by Squadron Leader Jerry Pook, in response to a call for help from D Squadron, attacked Mount Kent's eastern lower slopes, and that led to its loss through small arms fire. On the 31st of May, the Mountain and Arctic Warfare Cadre defeated Argentine Special Forces at the skirmish at Top Malo House. A 13-strong Argentine Army Commando detachment found itself trapped in the small shepherd's house at Top Malo. Argentine commandos fired from windows and doorways and then took refuge in a stream bed 200 meters away from the burning house. Completely surrounded, they fought 19 Mountain Arctic Warfare Cadre Marines under Captain Rod Boswell for 45 minutes, until their ammunition was almost exhausted, and then they decided to surrender. 3 of the cadre members were badly wounded, but on the Argentine side there were 2 dead. Only 5 Argentines were left unscathed. As the British mopped up Top Malo House, Lieutenant Fraser Haddo's M and AWC patrol came down from Malo Hill, brandishing a large Union flag. 601st Commando tried to move forward to rescue the 602nd Commando Company on Estancia Mountain. Spotted by the 42nd Commando, they were engaged with L-16 81mm mortars, forced to withdraw to Two Sisters Mountain. The leader of 602nd Commando Company on Estancia Mountain realized his position had become untenable, and after meeting with fellow officers, ordered a withdrawal. The Argentine operation also saw a large use of helicopter support to position and extract patrols. Around 11 a.m. on the 30th of May, an Aerospatiale SA-330 Puma helicopter was brought down by a shoulder-launched FIM-92 Stinger surface-to-air missile fired by the SAS in the vicinity of Mount Kent. 6 Argentine National Gendarmerie Special Forces were killed and 8 more wounded were in the crash. On the night of the 11th of June, after several days of reconnaissance and logistical build-up, British forces launched a brigade-sized night attack against the heavily defended ring of high ground surrounding Stanley. Units of the 3 Commando Brigade, supported by naval gunfire from several Royal Navy ships, simultaneously attacked at the Battle of Mount Harriet, Battle of Two Sisters, and Battle of Mount Longdon. Mount Harriet was taken at the cost of 2 British and 18 Argentine soldiers. Two Sisters, the British faced both enemy resistance and friendly fire, but managed to capture their objectives. The toughest battle was at Mount Longdon, and British forces were bogged down by rifle, mortar, machine gun, artillery, and sniper fire in ambushes. Despite this, they continued advancing. During this battle, 13 were killed when HMS Glamorgan, staying too close to shore while returning from the gun line, was struck by an improvised trailer-based Exocet MM-38 launcher taken from the destroyer ARA Sigui by Argentine Navy technicians. After a night of fierce fighting, all objectives were secured, and both sides suffered heavy losses. The second phase of the attack began on the night of the 13th of June, and the momentum of the initial assault was maintained. 1,000 men with light armor support from the Blues and Royals captured Wireless Ridge with a loss of 3 British and 25 Argentine lives, and 2nd Battalion. Scots Guards captured Mount Tumbledown at the Battle of Mount Tumbledown, which cost 10 British and 30 Argentine lives. The last natural defense line at Mount Tumbledown breached. Argentine town defenses of Stanley began to falter. A ceasefire was declared on the 14th of June, and the commander of the Argentine garrison in Stanley, Brigadier General Mario Menendez, surrendered to Major General Jeremy Moore in the same day. On June 20th, the British retook the South Sandwich Islands, which involved accepting the surrender of the southern Tule garrison at the Corbeta, Uruguay base, and they declared the war over. In total, 907 were killed during the 74 days of the war. So what were the consequences? Well, the brief war brought many consequences for everyone involved, besides the considerable casualty rates and large amount of material lost, especially shipping and aircraft, relative to the deployed military strengths of each side. In the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher's popularity increased, and the success of the Falklands campaign was widely regarded as a factor in the turnaround and fortunes for the Conservative government, which had been trailing behind the SDP Liberal Alliance in the opinion polls for months before the conflict began. But after the success in the Falklands, the Conservatives returned to the top of the opinion polls by a wide margin and went on to win the next year's general election by a landslide. Subsequently, Defense Secretary Nott's proposed cuts to the Royal Navy were abandoned. Also, the Falkland Islanders received full British citizenship in 1983, and their lifestyle was improved by investments the United Kingdom made after the war and by giving them more money, which had been stalled because they didn't want to provoke Argentina. And in 1985, a new constitution was enacted promoting self-government, which has continued to give more power to the islanders. In Argentina, meanwhile, defeat in the Falklands War meant that possible war with Chile was avoided, and further, Argentina returned to a democratic republic in the 1983 general election, first free election since 1973. It also had a major social impact, destroying the military's image as the moral reserve of the nation that it had maintained throughout most of the 20th century. So anyways, that's all. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you next time.